guys, I'm Cumin Traits. Welcome to the Yummo Kitchen. Today I'm going to be making roast chicken and showing you how. It's one of my favorite Sunday lunch dishes. I've just got my ingredients here. First of all, number one ingredient, a free-range chicken. I think buying free-range is really important, much better than buying battery hen chickens. Better for the environment, better for taste, better for the chickens, so that's good. We're going to be flavouring our chickens with oranges, which are really delicious and are just coming into season in winter, so I'm really pleased. They're nice and warm. And then to make it into a whole meal, I've got some vegetables, some baby potatoes, a nice fresh cauliflower, which we'll be adding later, some red onions, which are delicious and sweet. I've got some garlic extra. Oh, and you know what I have in my fridge are some nice green bone marrows, just to add some colour and taste. So we're going to start off with preparing the chicken. I mean, chickens are quite expensive, you might think. They're between sort of 60 and 90 rand for a whole chicken. But one chicken can feed between 4 and 6 people. So that works out to, what, just between 10 and 15 rand per person. So I think they're actually quite reasonable, and it's really nice to buy the whole chicken because then you sort of know where everything's coming from. So in order to prepare it, the first thing you want to do is remove some of this excess fat. Chicken fat is not delicious in any way. So you can normally just pull it out. It just doesn't look very sexy, but it isn't, so that's fine. Now we're going to deal with the Pope's nose, which is this little gland. If you turn, that's the breast up here. If you turn it on its back, you'll find this little head. And this little gland is bitter and not very tasty. So you can just carefully move it, and then just, there you go, you can see the gland. And if you've ended up cutting through it, just make sure you scrape through those yellow parts. There we go, all out. So now we've got our chicken prepared, and now we're going to season it with some cumin and whole coriander. You don't have to use the whole one, but I really like it. And I have a pestle and mortar to smash it up in, so that really helps. Otherwise, the fine one is also great, and actually sometimes I do a combination. So I'm just pouring my whole cumin and coriander in here. Cumin and coriander are probably my number one favourite spices. I love them, and I love them with everything orange. I feel like they go really well with orange things. And on this chicken, they're just delicious. So I'm just smashing these guys up. And then I'm just going to do this with my spices. Get a whole bunch of them inside as well. Get it all around. Make sure that your chicken is got its suntan lotion all over the place. There we go. So basically this is now ready to go in the oven, but we're going to add some more flavour with one of these oranges. So I just cut it in quarters, and you see they're nice and juicy, which is perfect. And what you can do is just squeeze some juice in and then stuff the cavities inside, stuff the oranges inside the cavity. And there you go, that's some nice flavour. This is a huge orange, so it depends how many, well, not that big, but so it depends how much you can get in there. If you can't get much more than that, then that's fine. And what we're going to do is use the rest to prop the chicken up on the roasting tray. Okay, as you can see, I've used a yellow chopping board. I normally make sure I chop chicken on a completely separate board to everything else, because it's very dangerous to have raw chicken on a chopping board that might not get cleaned 100% right, and obviously raw chicken can make you really sick. So I have different chopping boards for different things, which is not possible for everyone. Just do remember, if you use the same chopping board across the board, to sanitize it and make sure that it's really clean afterwards. And now I've popped this guy onto my roasting trivet, which is basically just this little metal rack which goes over a shelf, which is really nice because it lets the juices drip down during cooking. You can catch them on top of whatever delicious vegetables you've got underneath. Okay, the problem is that most often if you roast a chicken, it's really easy to just pop it in the oven just like this. But if you do that, you can end up with a really dry breast before the drumsticks and the parts underneath are cooked properly. So what we're going to do is use our oranges as little struts. And I mean, they're not just struts, the juices are also going to run down and become part of the instant gravy towards the end. But what we want to do is cook it on its side first. Use our oranges to strut her up. There you go. Now we're ready to put this guy in the oven, which is on 180 degrees, and it will stay on this side for 25 minutes. The carbohydrate for today are potatoes. I just bought washed baby potatoes, which is the easiest thing. We'll start with the cauliflower. And then normally what I do is just cut it in half, because then you can see the core perfectly. And then just go around and around. And you're ready to break these into florets or cut them, whatever you like. So just break them off into here. Okay, now we're going to chop this red onion. The first thing you have to remember is to cut through the root. So you're cutting from the top to the bottom, through that. Because if you cut it this way, you won't be able to get wedges. So cut through the root, and cutting through the root makes it a lot easier to peel, as you can see. You can just pull the peel off, cut off the top, and then the trick is to keep the bottom, let me go for this one, to keep the bottom intact. So you want to just cut off that part, but you want to leave the root intact, because otherwise your wedges will fall apart. And then you just go half through, and the other side, half through, and then you can see we've got the lovely quarters. So you're going to pop those in there. And now I'm just going to add some baby marrow and chop these quite rustically. Okay, and just to do some fresh garlic, just break it out of the house, pop it over here, and then use your knife blade to flatten it. Flatten up, and then you see it pops out of the skin, makes it really easy to peel. And there we go. And then we can just cut the top off, and that little bottom, cut it off, make slices out of this, and then you need the salt to act as an abrasive agent, and that just gives you some friction to crush it into a nice paste. There we go. It's much nicer to use fresh garlic than to buy the already cubed one, which I think is not very pleasant. So, veggies are ready. Okay, and 25 minutes are up, so we're just going to take our chicken out. It's starting to get nice and brown, and it smells amazing. It smells so orangey and good. So what we're going to do now is just really carefully turn it over. Now, just get our oranges around and put it back in the oven. So the trick is now to get the veggies in underneath. So I'm just going to pick this right up, move it over here, and there's some delicious juices down here already, orange juice and chicken juice, and I'm going to pop them in here. I won't do all of them, I won't go overboard, leave the rest for another day. Roll them around in those sauces, and I'm going to add this garlic and make sure that the potatoes roll around in the garlic really nicely and just get covered all over. That's really tasty. We've got all our veggies in here, and now I'm just going to add some boiling water to help them along. Also because chicken cooking times can vary depending on your oven and a whole bunch of different things, the size of the chicken, and we don't want the chicken to be cooked and the veggies all to be raw. So adding that boiling water will just help it cook. Will help the veggies cook a bit faster, not too much, and now we can go back in the oven for about another 30 minutes, but check after 20. Okay, cool. Cheers guys!
Alright, cheers! Yay! Thanks so
so much, Karina. Thank you.
Just day drinking.
Yeah, well, it's happy.